Where's the line of cocaine? I'm just kidding.
That's gonna be great. That's gonna be the part of the intro right now. Right now, that's gonna be the first thing they hear. All right.
I had to do that. Sorry.
Finally TV, party people, here we are, you know who it is, it's your boy Gabriel back again, and remember, don't just dream, inspire, don't just imagine, create, and just don't believe, achieve, that's the way it goes down right here on Voice of the Valley, and today, I have a little special gift for you. We're gonna switch speeds a little bit. We're gonna keep things funny and raw. I got my man, Mr. Awkward, in the building. How are you, sir?
Hey guys, thank you. What should we do?
Finally TV.
Finally
here.
TV.
You are here.
See, this is why I'm called Mr. Awkward. I had a great opening, right, guys?
Yeah. Love that. Man, so Mr. Awkward, aka Michael Telesco. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I am great. How are you?
I'm okay. That you have a passion for making people laugh, man.
I try.
Yeah, yeah. How did that come about?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question. That's a really good one. I actually told this yesterday, and I've told it before. I hope I'm not boring you. When I did martial arts back in the day, I would look at myself when I was teaching the kids. So let's say I was facing this way, a bunch of kids looking at me like this. I'm on a mat, right? So this is kind of like where the visuals start to come in. I have a crowd of people within, over there, the parents watching, right? So I have the kids facing me this way, and I have the parents facing me sideways. I used to be so nervous that I couldn't even turn and look at the parents. So I'd be teaching the kids, I could look at the kids and no problem. Second I get like a quick look at the parents, I start to freeze. Like I feel like, oh man, I'm uncomfortable. That guy looked at me funny. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It just got to me, right?
You gonna punch him?
Maybe, I'm just kidding.
Discipline.
Yes. So I would do all that, and then before you know it, I start to think to myself when I was teaching, I would hear laughter. I would say something to the kids because I could crack jokes with the kids because they're kids. You want to have fun with them, right? So I'm cracking jokes. And then before you know it, I'm realizing, they're laughing too. The parents are laughing too. And I'm like, man, that's just so contagious. That's so much fun. And then before you know it, the mat was like my stage. The crowd was obviously the people there learning from me.
Sure.
And then down the road, I started to think to myself, well, one, I'm very uncomfortable the way, I can't even look at the parents from time to time.
Right.
Now it's, I can look them in the eye. I mean, it gets Mr. Awkward. It gets very awkward. I could do it because I started to do more open mics. I actually started with karaoke, believe it or not.
Okay.
I started to do karaoke. And then
You gotta have guts to go up there for karaoke, man.
well, I want to just say to anybody who's watching this, if you ever feel that you're shy and you're trying to work out of coming out of your shell, just performing, karaoke, as simple as karaoke. I mean, some people are like, "Oh my gosh, you just go on that stage and you don't even care." That's how it started. It wasn't. I was shy myself. I don't like to admit it, and it's weird when people called me shy growing up. It's like, why? Because I just didn't want to talk.
Yeah.
I don't know why even. Anyway, but
I didn't like you.
No, it wasn't like that. It's just I try to be calm and well mannered, and I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes when they're talking or anything. But regardless, just go for it, just do something easy and light that kind of like tiptoes your way there. And then, 7 years later now, I'm doing stand-up comedy still. I do it for fun, obviously, and try to make up something of it, but it helped me.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. We talked a little bit before about like, doing open mics and performing and stuff. What are you doing? What's the goal for you, Mr. Awkward, the comedian, when you're thinking about, hey, I want to perform? Are you hunting down the next open mic? Are you looking for the next showcase? Like, what's your train of thought there?
I have a little bit of a small dream with stand-up comedy, and I mean, big house and nice cars, and I mean that's probably everybody's dreams. But I'm gonna say like realistically. Because, I mean, I'm just being as humble as I can. I mean, I don't think I'm appealing to everybody. But, if it works, if I can go somewhere with it, of course. But what I wanted to say is on a smaller scale, if I can have some kind of like steady performance work where, I mean, I don't like to talk like this, but to get paid, for your time, perform, make people laugh, enjoy myself, and not have to, travel said place. I mean, traveling would be cool. I would love to travel. I've done a lot of traveling growing up, but I'm just saying to constantly do that, never see my family, that seems like a little too much for me to handle. But I mean, if it works, it works. You know, you make a good amount of money and your family's cool with it. That's one thing. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm sure it takes a toll. And most comedians actually have to go through that, unfortunately. But you know, I don't have depression issues, but they say that the people who do stand-up comedy tend to be depressed. So laughter is like their medicine and everything. And I mean, that's not me per se. Like I have bad days like everybody else. But like I said, I would like to have it locally where I could just kind of keep it in my life, to get something out of it, and just basically call it a day. So
you'd rather be, you know, a medium-sized fish in a small pond than the small fish in the big ocean out there.
Well, I also don't want to give myself a big head. You know, if I blew up, I mean, I know this phrase, you know, be nice to the people on the way up because you might see them on the way down. So I try to be as nice and respectful with everything. And like I said, you know, I know there's people that depend on me. I know there's people that care about me. Having a martial arts school is, you know, just oodles and oodles amounts of people who always want my time, and I'm always there for them. And I mean, the last thing I ever want to do is not be there for them. So
I have to ask, man, you know, when you marry the two worlds of comedy and martial arts and actually being a black belt in one of them, does it cross your mind when you're on stage, like, go ahead, say something stupid, I'll come see you.
To fight someone?
Yeah, I'll punch you in your face with my bottom of my foot.
I can't tell you how many times people make those references or jokes, I guess. I mean, I find it funny, but I just personally don't have it in me to hurt anybody, to be honest. I just don't. But I grew up with a brother who beat the crap out of me. I never got bullied in school. I mean, people, like kids in school, kind of try to annoy me and everything. I think I get more bullied now.
Yeah. Because you're more humble, just chilling.
I do. I have a baby face. Let's get that out of the way. I'm sure you're watching this and you're going, why is there a 2-year-old talking? I mean... 27.
Why does Gabe have little kids on his show now?
I'm 27. Get over it, people. There's different people looking than me out there. Well, I don't know why. I mean, he wears glasses, nice hair. Why is this a shock? Have you stepped out of your house? I get it all the time. It's so stupid to me. It's like, what?
I love it. You know, for the common folk out there, and I'm common folk just like my audience out there, when we're sitting here and we're hearing a guy talking about, yo, I'm a comedian, and, you know, I stay humble, but, you know, I'm a black belt and this and that. It's almost like, you know, you guys, you better laugh, you know, like, you know.
Yeah.
So good for you. I think you should use that as a part of your shtick. Is that you could like start doing like roundhouse kicks on stage and stuff like that could be you if you don't laugh, you know. So it could be awkward. It would fit right in.
Yeah,
you know.
Goes with the title.
That's it, baby. Let's talk a little bit. You know, I know what you said about the inspiration to want to go and you know, perform in front of people because you were on that mat with the kids and the parents and everything. And, you know, you had that little funny bone in you, obviously, you know what I mean? Because you were making them laugh and stuff. Inspirations, though. Who were your inspirations as a comedian? You don't just start being funny out of nowhere. Was it like somebody famous? Was it a family member? Like, who got you to want to be funny?
Dave Chappelle. Drum roll, please.
Yes.
Dave Chappelle.
Okay, Dave Chappelle.
Definitely Dave Chappelle, and you know, the Chappelle Show. It's funny how it kind of like came over me why he's my favorite. I grew up with my older brother, like I was mentioning, who, you know, always picked on me, but there was times where we had nice times where he would watch the Chappelle Show. He would show me, especially his Dave Chappelle stand-up comedy and everything. And my brother always played Comedy Central. So it's weird because it wasn't like my interest at that time. It wasn't like, but it was there. It was always in the background. And as I grown up, I love stand-up comedy. It wasn't like I went from comedians, like the inspirations of comedians, and watched them first. So when it came to, you know, wanting to be a stand-up comedian and be an entertainer, I had a teacher, my boss. You could call him my boss too. You know, he paid me to do martial arts, be his head instructor at the time. I didn't have his support, and I wanted to do stand-up comedy. I wanted to do other things besides martial arts. Now, you can do more than one thing. You don't have to just stick to one thing.
Right.
But I say don't give up on either one. You know, be consistent and do what you can. But anyway, he didn't support me at all.
Okay.
So as time went on, it's like, well, I want to do well, and I kind of want to stick it to him too. But I'm not like that really. But it's like to prove someone wrong is probably the best satisfaction out there. I hate to say it. So then I met Master Song, and he's the complete opposite. This man supports me. This man cares that I want to do this, and I can't. I owe him a lot. So to have a good mentor, especially what I want to do in martial arts, who is interested, he would go to my show. It's just I had to get something that he has a busy schedule as well. So to have that is great. But Dave Chappelle, as time went on, long story short, I guess, sorry, is the guy, because he was the guy that kind of he's the best.
Yeah.
First off, everybody says Dave Chappelle. They would say Eddie Murphy, but he only did 2 specials, and I believe he's coming back. I hear the new people like what's his name? I forget, but whatever.
Well, I gotta stick up. All my Eddie Murphy heads out there are going crazy right now. You gotta remember, Eddie Murphy cut his teeth with Saturday Night Live.
Yep.
And that improv type of comedy is invaluable as far as learning, and he really endeared himself with the characters he came up with. Early on in those I guess it was early '80s where he really was on there doing his thing, and the movies that he did afterwards really elevated his status.
Coming to America, guys.
There's a lot more too. So Eddie Murphy, I can't wait for that to come out. I'm glad you brought that up.
Coming to America too.
Yeah, man.
I wonder where they're going next.
Yeah, exactly. But Dave Chappelle, it's interesting. I feel like he was like kind of like almost like blacklisted or blackballed for a little while, and people kind of forgot about him a little bit after the Chappelle show and what happened to Dave. He got crazy. He went to Africa. He even talks about it in his new stand-ups and stuff. You know what I mean? But when he circles back, and now you're watching other comedians talk about him, and you're a comedian talking about him that he's the best. There's ones who have done what you would like to do in the industry that say the same thing. They're like, listen, you don't really understand. He's a genius. You know what I mean?
He is. He really is.
And what he's doing is amazing.
Not for nothing. And this is a stigma with stand-up comedy is of being offended or offending people. We are not out here to offend anybody. We're here to make you laugh.
Right.
Now, the only way it offends you is, one, it hurts you. So this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to not make it hurt you. So we talk about said topics and things that, one, no one wants to talk about or think about or admit. It's another thing people don't want to admit. And the struggle and the balance is, how do you approach that? How do you do it right? And I believe Dave Chappelle, this is why he's the best and a genius. He finds that medium. He finds how to, of course he's offending people. I mean, how can you not?
Right.
But that's what makes it great, is because if you have a good sense of humor, one, and you can laugh. And I mean, remember, Sticks and Stones, that was his special. Sticks and Stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. I could literally say, anything I want right now to anybody, and the words won't come out and punch that person in the face. So, I mean, what are you really worried about? If you have tough skin, and I mean, not everybody does, it's not our job to hurt you, but if you could just take it and laugh, you'll have a different side of it.
Sure.
And I think that says more about the person listening to the show than it does the person on the stage, because they have to do it right too. They mess up, and they should get blackballed maybe, but you should at least give them another chance, because it's not an easy thing to do either.
Right. No, I agree. So, Dave Chappelle, what are the inspirations?
Tom Segura, I was gonna say too.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Who are the others? There's others that
he's He's becoming my new guy. I forgot the other guy. I'm sorry. I just.
What about this shirt of yours? What's
yeah.
going on?
All right, this is Elvis Presley.
Okay.
For the millennials listening, I had a funny story. I was at my 3rd semester of college, right? And I'm in class, and I just, the teacher's trying to get us all comfortable with one another. It was English class, English 101. Shout out to Professor Phillips. What's up?
Shout out Professor Phillips.
She did a great job. I really liked her. But she's trying to get us all comfortable, right? And the one kid was turns to me. He's 18 years old. I'm 27. I feel like an old guy. I don't really look like an old guy, so everybody mistakes me for their age. And they go, "Is that Ted Bundy on your shirt?" And I'm like, "No, it's Elvis Presley." Who raised you, dude? So
Ted Bundy.
I was like, really? I think because he's slightly becoming more popular, unfortunately, and
there was
murderer.
like yeah, exactly. There was a couple movies and stuff that came out.
Yeah, Zac Efron was him.
Right. Weird.
Nice casting.
So let's just touch on some of the real popular comedians and maybe just give me like a line or two about them.
Sure.
You know? Like a big one out there is Kevin Hart. What do you think about Kevin Hart?
I like Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
I respect Kevin Hart. I respect all comedians, by the way. But I can't think of the guy. I'm so sorry. There's a Bill Burr. Does that make
Bill Burr? Yeah.
Bill Burr.
Yeah.
I like him too, but the thing is, it's just one of those things. It's just like when it comes to like what you like and everything. I really can't get behind him. Don't get me wrong, he's funny. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure he does really well. What am I saying? Obviously he does better than me. It's not that. It's just it doesn't appeal to me. I mean, I can listen to Dave Chappelle in my sleep. You know what I mean? It's just something that I get more of a kick of.
Sure.
So it's just one of those things.
You touched on Eddie Murphy. You're touching on Dave Chappelle. These are comedians that came up, decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with ones that they were listening to, like the George Carlins and Richard Pryors and those two?
I am. I personally can't get behind them as well, but one that's just not my generation.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't grow up with that stuff.
Sure.
That was what got them into it, and you have to show respect. I think you should show respect to everybody.
Right.
Despite them giving you a hard time.
Sure.
Just look at them and be like, all right, whatever, and just walk away. You don't have to curse them out.
Yes.
But I'm just saying.
True.
Respect who was there first.
What about another comedian out here? About Ron White. You know who Ron White is?
Yeah, I do. I'm sorry. It's not really popping in my head. Oh, yeah, Ron White.
Yeah,
yes, the old gentleman who likes to drink his scotch and smoke cigars. Yes, I like him a lot.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. What about, now the name's escaping me, damn it. Mr. Awkward, help me. He's another guy, he always talks about politics. He always gets like real frustrated.
Yeah, that's Louis Black.
Louis Black.
Yeah, he's
What do you think
great.
about him?
I love him.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, he's great.
He makes me laugh.
Yeah.
I like how his take on society is like, you're all just dumb.
And he brings his parents to this show, which is really funny. No offense to him, he is a little older, and then all of a sudden there's his 9-year-old parents there. It's like, hey, mom, dad, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Him, I've come to really appreciate Louis Black.
I like Louis Black.
Cool, man. So if you had to say, to tell me, who would you compare yourself most to right now when you're on stage? What feel do you think you're giving out? If you had, I don't want you to pigeonhole yourself. Oh, I'm like this guy, but maybe a little mix of. What would you say?
I never really thought of that question, so you gotta give me a little bit to think that one out. I can compare my looks. I get told I look like Michael Cera. I'm gonna look at the camera for that one. Hey, so I guess Michael Cera.
Okay.
He doesn't do stand up, but I mean performer wise.
What about Norm? You seem like Norm Macdonald a little
I look
bit.
like a Norm Macdonald. All right.
Norm Macdonald's younger son.
No, I got it. I'm sorry. I did get this question. Names. I'm sorry, guys. Names aren't really coming to my head.
Yeah.
He just passed away recently. It's see what I mean? Names are sorry. Yeah, he used to do things with now D. Martin. What's his name? Jerry Lewis.
Jerry Lewis. Yeah.
Jerry Lewis. Hey, lady.
Yeah.
There you go. Because I think I have his tone of voice. I don't know.
Okay.
But I find it kind of interesting because I try to be more serious when I'm on stage, like my tone. I'm not more wacky.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm more wacky if you're hanging out with me.
Right.
Like I'll just, I don't know, until you laugh. That's kind of.
You got to watch Norm Macdonald, man. I
like him. Yeah, I know.
I think that's your lane right there, but I could be wrong.
You're good.
Let's talk about challenges, man. We're all aspiring people. Even this platform, Finally TV. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. Follow the Instagram, all that good stuff.
He's doing a great job.
What would you say are a couple of the biggest challenges for an aspiring comedian?
Okay.
Especially in this, let's talk about specifically Hudson Valley. What's a big challenge?
I personally my personal challenge first, and then I could give that advice if you don't mind. Is finding the time. I get time and time after again that, like, you know, I haven't seen you in a while. You know, you haven't been doing it, or what. I just don't have the time. I mean, when you have a mic that's at 7 p.m. in the Hudson Valley. I usually have something going on, and I'm not, you know, trying to sound like
too important.
Yeah, look at me, but I'm just being honest, and I can't really be that consistent. And
time management's huge.
I mean, the weekends are really important to me. If I had the opportunity, I mean, I have done shows on the weekends, and like, it's interesting. When I was actually thinking about stand-up comedy and everything, and actually, you know, my mom would get involved. She'd be like, "Why is there a show on a Wednesday?" You know what I mean? It's like, who wants to go out on a Wednesday? You know what I mean? So when I thought this stuff, I thought like a late Friday, Saturday, you know what I mean? Like that stuff. And there are, don't get me wrong, there are. But like that's the stuff that I personally come around a lot, is like the weekday stuff. Like, I'm not stand-up comedy on Monday. Like, what? Perform for my grandma, huh? So it's like, that's my issue, is just having time. But if I had to consider other challenges, it's one, working on your material, knowing who you are on stage, you know, feel like, you know, get that vibe and sense of a performer. Everybody's unique. Remember that you are unique, you are different, and that is a selling point regardless of who says it's not. I think it's good to be self-aware. I mean, I'll be the first guy to say I look really young and, you know, look like Michael Cera and things like that. You know, if you can make jokes of that and be comfortable in your own skin, at the end of the day, you're stuck in this body. So I mean, you might as well make the best of it. So just find your voice and just figure out a start. And open mics are always a good start. And when you meet someone who's in charge of these open mics and they mention, hey, we'll be at the show, try to become their friends, because, you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know, unfortunately. But
so here you go, being awkward again. I'm asking you about challenges, and he's telling me about how to get out there and get on an open mic. So I love this. I love this very much. So thank you, sir.
You got it.
No, but you're right though, and everything you're saying is true. You know, you do got to make time for your things. You got to make time for your own life. You got to make time for your craft. You know. I think one of the biggest challenges here in the Hudson Valley is just getting support. You know, when we do a show and having, you know, asses in the seat, and, you know, having friends come out and buy some drinks at the bar that you're performing at, and just to get that going. You know, if you do a little show at like a bar that's got a little open mic going on, you know, and you bring a little crowd in there, and, you know, your little group buys 3 or 4 drinks while they're there chilling, and maybe order a little fries or something, and other people smell the fries, so they order some fries. You know, that bar is going to do the open mic again.
I want some fries now.
You know what I'm saying? But they're going to do that open mic again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's beneficial for everybody. So if I could say anything to try to get ahead of some of those challenges, I would just say, go support your friends, man.
Yeah.
You know, and don't go there broke. Don't show up to support your friend with no money in your pocket. All right? Talking about, oh, there's a cover, and then leave. That's not it. You know, like, come out with a couple bucks. Even if it's 10, 15 bucks, have something in your pocket, support a little bit. And I think we could get ahead of this whole issue where we feel like we're performing to, you know, the staff that works the establishment instead of like a crowd.
Well, oh, sorry. Shout out to my friend Richard.
Okay.
My friend Richard came out that night. When he came out, he traveled from White Plains. Okay. So I believe the place, it was about maybe an hour and a half of a drive.
Yeah, to get out to Middletown.
Yeah, where you had it.
Yeah.
He comes when he can. I support him. He has a band called the Ever After. You want to support him, my friend Richard Rivera.
Hey.
Oh, who did that? Sorry. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'll pay for that. It was broken. I'm so sorry. Hey, so shout out to Richard Rivera. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Good.
But when he came out, I mean, to drive all that way, he almost didn't come, and I believe the weather was a bit of a problem too.
It was a little bit.
No, I believe snow was like in the forecast, or no, it was heavy rain. It was supposed to be heavy rain.
I was gonna say, it was a little early.
Yeah, I figured, but
that was awkward.
You're welcome. It fits me well, right? I'll tell you about how I got that in a little bit, but whatever. He came, right, and that's a good friend. I mean, that was my neighbor. He moved to White Plains. I was sad he moved, but I mean, you have to live your life, and I mean, you gotta support your friends. So. When it comes to doing these shows and stuff, you know, a majority of people have that crowd and have that support. And I know if I can get a nearby show, I really could. I can get a good amount of my friends. Not a lot. Like, you know, I'm not saying the whole place is going to be sold out because of me, because of my friends. But when I hear, you know, bring your shows, bring like 3 people or 4, it's in New York City. It's like, how can I get my friends 2 hours away?
Right.
They have to pay on top of that and everything. It's a little difficult. But I know locally, if I really like if I was like on the front of a poster or something and I had like maybe a month to like advertise it and I get a lot of, hey, when are you doing the next show? When can I go? I want to go. I could. So I mean, it's very important to have that support and you know, whoever is willing to do it for you, that's a good friend. So just don't ever forget that. Sorry again about that.
All good.
I feel so bad. Sorry.
Don't feel bad. So one thing I like to ask on Voice of the Valley before we go ahead and wrap this up is, you know, you've been on stage more than a few times, you know, and, you know, even in your other business, you've been in front of people before, you know, you've had accomplishments, you know, in your life as far as martial arts even, right? But has there been a time that you were made to feel like a star, like that first little, like, oh, this is what it could be, like that little taste of, hey, if I was super popular, it'd be like this all the time. Have you had that yet?
I have, and if you don't mind, I do talk a lot. I get it from my parents. If you know my parents, Jeannie and James Telesco, if you do know them, you can see where I got. All right.
I think you're the only one that's come on the show asking people if they knew the parents of the person that was on the show.
Who knows who's watching? Anyway, Mr. Awkward. I get told I'm awkward all the time, so I thought of a stage name, and I didn't want to always use my real name, and like I also don't want to connect that 100% with my business. But you know what? You gotta embrace what you have. I'm fortunate to have both, so. Whatever, I do stand-up comedy and I moonlight stand-up comedy, big deal.
Right.
And you know, it helps me, it really does. But anyway, so what was the question again?
A time that you felt like a star.
Yeah, all right, there you go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I talk a lot. I would get done with like a show, right? I swear to God, and I'm not making this up, and I would have people come up to me and they would look at me and they say, you're the funniest person who performed. And there's like 20 comedians. Yeah. And when they would do that, it's like, I'm doing something right. Yeah. And I know it's not consistent, but I mean, there's friends who I bring to I've been doing this for 7 years. Like I said, I brought them maybe within like 3 years in, 2 years in, right? And they're like, man, you stink. Yeah. And you're horrible and this and that. And I know I was. It's just you gotta learn somehow. You gotta develop it, right? Yeah. I practice in my shower a lot, by the way. Sure. A week before a show, my parents were like, "Why are you talking to yourself?" Yeah, I'm practicing in the shower, singing because I need 5 minutes of material and I need to make sure it sounds good. And sometimes it doesn't come out the right way or right. I mean, I know I stumbled a few times in this interview, but you gotta just keep going. I rolled the punches. But anyway. When I had friends come up to me after like the first time they saw me and they say you stink, and then see me a couple of years later and they say, man, wow, you got so much better, like stuff like that just makes you so good, feel so good, feel so good. And the last but not least, I did Mohegan Sun. So
that's a big venue.
Well, I was out there, and before you know it, I was the headliner. Oh, wow. You know, and that's just what happened. I was just the last guy. Okay. And then the guy who was introducing me goes, "Here's your headliner, guys," because you know the last guy's the headliner. Yeah. And then after I was done, I had 2 people want to take pictures with me, and then I have a picture up on Mr. Awkward on Facebook. If you want to check that out, Mr. Awkward on Facebook, and that's all there is for that. But I'm just saying, it's like, wow, I guess fans now. I was like, what, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. The reason I like to ask that question, and my audience knows, is because I like to watch people recount those moments. You know, gets me joy. Like I get joy out of that.
And I really mean it, like, because out of all the shows I have done, when you get that from time to time, it's not all the time, but it's just like, Oh man, then I'm doing something right, and
Yeah,
that's all that
exactly.
matters. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. I know I don't have a lot on my page. I get it. I'm not dumb, but the thing is, I know that I touched someone to make them feel that way, to say that to me. I didn't even know them.
Right.
And
right.
it's like you're doing something right.
It's a great feeling, and congrats to you for achieving that.
I appreciate it. Thank
Before
you.
we get out of here, Mr. Awkward, tell them exactly how they can follow you and how they can support you and all that good stuff. Let them know.
Well, before that, support my friend here, Gabriel Rivera,
Hey.
Finally TV.
Finally TV.
Always doing a great job. I didn't reach out to him to do this interview for nothing. So I mean, I saw what he's about. I know he's passionate. I know he's doing a great job with the interviews on his YouTube page. I believe it's Finally TV as well.
Yep.
And I did his venue where we became friends, and I had a great time. It was really a great time. I wish everybody got to experience that night.
Yeah, we had a packed house.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And he did a phenomenal job hosting. Would you call it a host?
Yes, I'm definitely an event host extraordinaire.
Yeah. And I was just there. I'm like, hi, guys. Hey, vote for me. Hey. So that was that night for my part. But
You turned Canadian. Right? Yeah, vote for me.
hey. But all right, it's Mr. Awkward on Facebook.
Okay.
Mr. Awkward.
Okay.
That's it. And
Are you on Instagram?
I am not on Instagram.
Okay. Get on Instagram. That's
will-
my advice to you today.
I will do that.
Okay.
And if you want to come to my martial arts school, be anything a part of that, it's TELESCO's Martial Arts. And the phone number again is 845-902-8585. You can reach out to me, and we get you started with one month free of classes for you and whomever you have interested in coming. And that's on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm Michael Jonathan on Facebook. I'm Jonathan because I like my privacy for the most part, but hey, now I'm doing it in a video. So Michael Jonathan, if you need to find me, and Michael Telesco on Instagram.
There you go.
Thank you.
Go. No, you're very welcome. It was a pleasure having you on here. And I'm just sitting here thinking about like when he's, instructing and teaching people, and they're not doing exactly what he's asking them to do. I can only imagine the stuff that you say to these people. So you have fun with it.
Well, I teach mainly children.
Yeah.
They are children.
Yeah.
So I like to have fun with them. And they're little battles. You
Yeah.
get them to listen.
Yeah.
You don't get them to listen.
Yeah.
Okay, well then you gotta kind of like get them to listen. But you're
Right.
not. I never am trying to be mean.
Can adults take your class?
Yes, I'm starting to get a chance to mention that, but we have a 7 to 8 adults, and we're working on our cardio kickboxing, seasonal cardio kickboxing, January 14th to April 14th. Reason why it's seasonal is because people kind of dabble with it, so I want to be more consistent and utilize my time. So like, if let's say it starts to fade out, at least I have somewhere to or something to do, and
Right.
I know my schedule.
Gotcha.
Because being busy, you want to make sure that you are occupying your time.
Awesome.
That simple.
Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our show today. He is Mr. Awkward. This is Voice of the Valley, Finally TV. Gabriel signing off. We out.
Thank you.